approaching me. Said I never seen a man who looks so all alone. Or could you use a little company? If you pay the right price, your evening will be nice, and you can go and send me on my way. I said you're such a sweet young thing, why you do this to yourself? She looked at me and this is what she said. Oh, there ain't no rest for the wicked. Money don't grow on trees. I got bills to pay, I got mouths to feed. There ain't nothing in this world for free. No, I can't slow down, I can't hold back. Don't you know, I wish I could. No, there ain't no rest for the wicked. Till we close our eyes for good. Not even
Good Monday morning and welcome to Drive Time, the best, worst show ever. Glad to be back. Good crowd in. Good morning to each of you. Good morning, Kenwood.
Good morning, DJ. Season 2, episode something, 12-ish.
To be continued.
Yeah, we're gonna get that figured out one way or the other. We really are working very hard on that. So, anyway, what's up with you, man? What's going on this morning?
Glad to be back in Studio B. Have my blueberry muffin.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw you checked in again this morning.
I love them.
And I'm asking from someone who don't drink a lot of that kind of stuff. Is it like do you get energy out of that every morning? I mean, you get all boosted up from it. Like, what's the story with that?
I don't know that I get energy from it, but I get this meal replacement for me, and it's 200 calories.
Right.
And I think from a nutritional standpoint, it meets the needs that a healthy person would be looking for. Now, they have different, you can spice it up any way you want. They have an energy boost that you can add to it for a couple of bucks.
Right.
They've got a fat burner. They've got all kind of different stuff. But I just go in there and get the blueberry muffin.
Yeah. So you kind of, you're like me. When you find something, you kind of stick with it.
I haven't had all of them. They have an amazing variety. But this and probably peanut butter cookie are my go-tos.
It's kind of like your what were you telling me, your corridor that you like to that you like to go and be part of, and where's that from, between here and
Destin and Auburn?
Yeah, Destin and Auburn. That's it. I couldn't figure out what that was. I look like everybody bailed out on us. Does it look like they use that just on my side?
I'm not showing a counter, which may or may not be a good.
Man, I don't know either. They may have said the heck with y'all.
Not shocked.
Nah, I wouldn't be shocked. I told them when the thing started at 7:30 ish. Let me say this. I put that out.
You know who came in? They probably all left.
Yeah, maybe so. Tomorrow I won't start it as early. Like, as far as this is a whole new setup.
Mm-hmm.
So I started the broadcast like 7:15 just to make sure that we were like broadcasting.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because I didn't want to have any problems or what have you. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe people are like. I mean, I show one person watching.
I'm not showing that many.
Well, this is
whoever the one is. Would you like and share just to make us feel a little bit better, please? We are monitoring comments, if there are any, on the Boss Man Productions Facebook page.
Let's see here. Let's see. Let's see here. Detail. I think I see why.
Do you think these mics are still hot?
I don't know.
I'll just watch what I say just in case.
Yeah. You know, I don't. Temple says she's here.
I've gone completely blank.
Well, I haven't, but
I keep saying this video is no longer available.
well, I don't know. Let's I think that they're coming. They're getting back in. They're coming back in. I'll see what happened. Anyway, I got it. I'll see what happened here. I had this thing where I didn't click continuation or continue on the broadcast.
I'm getting some information that comments are turned off.
I got all kind of comments. People commenting right now. Everybody's getting back in there. We back up to 22. Anyway, let's see who all's in here. You want to try that?
I can't see anything.
You can't. Oh, you still
I'm
can't.
out.
You still can't. Let's see.
Yeah.
We got people in here now. Let's go to. You would know we'd have a fun-filled morning. There you go.
All right.
Yeah. So, oh well. Hey, that's why I started it at 7:15. I wanted to make sure it was working.
Hey, we're back up. We're good.
Yeah, but I see what happened.
Hey, Heather Godwin.
So I got all that figured out.
Blueberry muffin.
Yeah, we're good now. So anyway, yeah, what you drinking, DJ? Blueberry muffin.
Blueberry muffin.
Comments were off. I think they're on now because people are commenting. So went out, came back in. Now it's working. Okay. Hey, listen, it wouldn't be a drive time without technical difficulties. But this wasn't. This was my fault because I didn't click that button like I was supposed to click. So not a big deal. I know what I'm doing. I got that part figured out now. So morning, JoJo Holmes. Kane Dickey. Is Kane still ruling the roost over in War Eagle Roll Tide?
Every night.
Hey, speaking of that, and speaking of stories and things like that, all 22 people here. They may all be wondering just what in the heck happened. We were kind of going, and then all of a sudden, we had a couple of days. And listen, when I tell you that there was a couple of days of technical difficulties, this was not on our end. That was on YouTube and Facebook's end. They were overrun. Literally, like they had to change their quality of their videos that people could watch because so many people in the world were watching videos at that time.
Wow.
So
Nothing
that's
else to do.
Yeah. And so when they did that, their servers, I don't want to say were overloaded, but they got pretty overrun and it's just one of those things. So, but when that happened, in the midst of all that happening, and I'll let you go from there because you're better at telling stories than I am. So I'm just here to punch buttons. It's like slide down just this way, just a hair, DJ, if you can, because I got this little this. So we probably closer to maybe social. And we're not gonna say that word.
We're in.
Not unless you want to.
We're good.
Okay, so what happened from there?
And what are we talking about?
Well, like I said, we had we got ready to crank back up that Monday, and Facebook was crazy,
Yeah.
YouTube was crazy. Couldn't log on to either one because of the people using them, and so when that happened, we were like, okay, we got to see what's going. And then craziness hit.
Well, this COVID-19 came in and kind of made everybody reshuffle and redefine what normal is. I think we're starting to find our way a little bit, and hopefully things are starting to flatten out. Is that the appropriate term, the curve flattening out somewhat? I don't watch the numbers quite as much now as I was in the beginning. I still pay attention to it and still concerned about the welfare of everybody and how we're going to get this thing running. But I want to speak to COVID-19 just for a second from a local standpoint.
Sure.
As I've been out and about, and I'm sure you have as well, and things have opened up, I don't go anywhere and people not ask me about our places of business being impacted and infected, so to speak. So I want to, is it okay to set the record straight
Sure.
on what we went with? Okay.
Yes. We need to do this.
Between Peach Ford and Peach Chevrolet, there are close to 70 employees. Is that right?
Yes.
Give or take?
Give or take a few, yeah.
We had 3 people at the Chevrolet store, with 1 or 2 of those people kind of having some crossover in terms of having responsibilities at both stores, get infected with COVID-19. They tested positive. 2 of the 3 people that tested positive never showed a symptom.
Not one.
But due to medical protocol, they had to stay away from the place of business for 14 days. They were in quarantine for 14 days, then took a follow-up test. They both tested negative on that, and of course were allowed to come back to work. The 3rd person that tested positive did show some symptoms, was a little sick. I think that I would be overstepping it if I said deathly ill. This person, I think, did check into a medical facility for precautionary reasons, did have some slight respiratory issues. I don't think was ever hooked up to a respirator. I don't think it ever got to that point, and I think the sickness lasted a couple of days, maybe a couple of 3 days. That person, of course, was in quarantine for 2 weeks as well, came back, tested negative. That person is back at work as well and as vibrant as ever. So in saying
that's an understatement.
So in saying that, for me, and I see the news reports and I see the numbers and I see everything that goes on, I have a hard time, and this is not only with this is with anything. I can't get my arms wrapped around things if I can't see it, feel it, and touch it. So all I have to base my opinion on is what we had happen to us locally. And I don't know. This is a serious situation. I think anybody that has had a worse experience than the 3 people that I work with, my heart goes out to you. And I feel for you, and I think we ought to be smart. I made a post last night that you can take this serious. You can be concerned about the economy. And you can be concerned about how we're going to do things moving forward, all at the same time. You're not wrong because you're worried about those things and concerned about them. And so, with our experience, I'm comfortable that if we're smart and we have some safety measures in place, we can live and we can carry on business.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very fair statement. Yes. Do we need to be vigilant? Yes. Do we need to be slathering up with hand sanitizer and that kind of thing? Yes. But this too shall pass. And we've learned through what we went through that, of course, we're not doctors, although we play too on TV.
In a pinch.
But
spies like us. Yeah.
Was it airplane or whatever? I'm not a doctor. He is, damn it. But at any rate, so at the end of the day, I again, it's a serious issue. It's not that we're making fun of it. It's not that at all. And I do think that there are people on both sides of the argument that have taken it way too far. And I think there are people probably in the middle of it that have probably not taken it serious enough. I will say this about things, and this is one thing, I said when we came back that first day, what did I say? I said, I hate this term essential and non-essential businesses. I hate it, okay? I still hate it. My mind, and that's what I want to ask you. My mind hasn't changed a bit as far as that goes, as far as, I've got a real, and maybe I shouldn't. And listen, this is nothing against Walmart or Target or people like, any companies like that. But how is it okay for those businesses to stay open and to sell the things that our local businesses sell as well, but yet they can't stay open because they're not essential.
Well, I'm not trying to start a revolution here. I'm really not.
Well, me neither.
But I'm not.
But Prince did.
Well, I'm just telling you. I think our constitutional rights have been, I won't say trampled, but I think they've been pushed. I'm not sure, and we don't usually go down this road on this show. We try to stay away from anything that falls in the political world. But how can you not be allowed to sell T-shirts and shorts at your place of business if you're a locally owned business, but yet at the big box stores they can?
Right. Well, let me say this. This question issue to me is not about politics. Mm-hmm. What that's about is, are there ways to try and stay safe? Yeah, there's ways to try to stay safe, but how come it's at the expense of some and not others? Where
I go with it is I'm trying to figure out what the end result is and what good. And I'm not. That's probably a bad way to say this. There's 335 million people, roughly ish, in the country. Okay, we had 70-ish get tested between the Ford store and the Chevrolet store. Chip went above and beyond. Chip paid for all that testing. Chip had ServPro, a local contractor, come in and clean both dealerships after hours throughout the night. Shut both dealerships down for 2 different days apiece. We had a skeleton crew there.
Yes, we did. I won't tell you what. That was that Monday and Tuesday was fun at the Ford store, let me tell you.
But in saying all that, all the 70 people that we had tested, all it meant was they were negative at that point in time. Who's to say 6 hours later when they went to a grocery store or they went to a gas station or they went anywhere that they didn't become infected then at that point? The dealerships were clean. They were sanitized. Who's to say an infected person doesn't walk off the street and immediately leave the virus there? So I'm saying all that to say this. I get the testing. We need to keep testing, and we need to come up with a vaccine. But unless you're going to test everybody every single day, you don't really know who's in your company, who's in your presence, or what you come in contact with.
Now, I'm asking out of ignorance, and maybe you know this question. Maybe somebody watching can answer this question. Isn't it's like chicken pox, is it not? Once you've had it, you're good?
I don't know. Is that right? I don't know.
Listen, I've read so much information about this stuff, I can't tell if it's right or not. I know I've been told that. I've read that somewhere, so I'm going to assume it's right. I don't know why it wouldn't be.
That's going to take me to another thing. I'm probably most disgusted that I don't know what to believe, that I don't have a source I can go to and get the truth. I don't believe CNN any more than I believe Fox News. I think there are slants on both sides. I just wish there was a place for people like me that can just go and get good information. I'm seeing now where Dr. Fauci, is saying don't wear a mask, or he does wear a mask. I mean, I don't know what's the truth, and that frustrates me.
I don't either, but and it is frustrating. But let me ask this question then. I heard 3 or 4 weeks ago, most people said, well, this will change the world forever. I do think maybe that's probably somewhat right, but I can tell you what you can't tell. Ride down to the beach and see if it's changed anything.
I hadn't made that run yet.
Well, let me tell you, anybody that's been to the beach will tell you that I haven't seen anybody on the beach wearing a mask.
Are the restaurants open at the beach?
Restaurants are open.
Is it limited capacity, or is it come one, come all?
I want to say this past week opened up to 50% capacity. A few restaurants I went in, I didn't see where they had tables blocked off to keep people from sitting on top of each other, but there were a lot of people, and there were a lot of people out. And like I said, I'm not saying that there's not a cautionary tale here. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that I just don't get why the whole world had to shut down And look, I'm not saying this isn't a terrible thing. It is. But my question is this. How many people die each year from cancer? How many people die each year? They say, well, this is a contagious disease. Okay, well, how many people pass away each year from the flu? How many people pass away each year from, a cold that turns into pneumonia or whatever? You know what I'm saying? I mean, and look, I'm not saying this is every death is tragic. I don't care if it's one. I'm not making light of that, but it would appear by the data being shared with us that the nursing homes and the elderly population are the ones that are getting hit the hardest. Would you agree with that? If the information is correct, yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't know what to believe, but I have read where that is the case. Yes. Well, maybe we'll try to get some folks back in here and see if we can get some answers on these questions. What do you think about that? We had a couple ladies come in and when it first started, and but here was my thing. The only thing that I good morning, Kimberly Peoples. The only thing I got a real problem with, or say real problem with, is, it's just so much misinformation out there. And I'm not talking about just from one news source or the other. I mean, everywhere. It's really hard to get any grasp on what is going on. That's been the most frustrating part for me. I mean, it is. It is extremely hard to get anything, to get any real good information. And speaking of good information, you want to kind of fill everybody in on our speaking of, talking about good information and what we're going to be doing moving forward some here and there, and we love to be showing up in places you can't ever tell. Yeah, we've partnered up with the city in a very part-time capacity to help facilitate information, promote, if you will, and be involved in some of the ongoings within our area. Certainly want to thank Mayor Lovelace and the City Council and Connie for kind of helping put all that together, and looking forward to being tasked out as needed. And, of course, we'll have some independent projects going on as well. But glad to be a tool in the tool belt of the city and try to help where we can. No doubt. No doubt. Ashley said in Montgomery this weekend, everybody was wearing masks and gloves. Numbers still high. I tell you, I was in Montgomery a couple of weeks ago, and I would say the same thing. It was wild. And I'm telling you, it is the 100% exact opposite between Navarre and Destin. Yeah. The direct opposite. I'm going to tell you, I was in Montgomery about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago. No, it's 3 weeks ago, I think. Good morning, Hot Rod. Terry Belden, good morning. And I was up there and going to a meeting, and before I got there, I had to use the restroom. I'm going to tell you something. I'm there at the, is it the East Chase, or whatever the main exit is up there on exit 10 when you're on 85. Gas stations weren't open, or restrooms were not open. So I'm sitting there, and of course, after you pass about 3 or 4 of them, and anxiety kicks up, you start figuring out, okay, how's this going to play out? And I started looking for wooded areas. Well, there wasn't a whole lot there on that strip, and I finally went in, and I hope the young lady didn't lose her job. I said, look, I got to use the restroom. And she let me go, but I don't think she was supposed to. It was either going to happen and I said, look, I'm going to the bathroom. One way or the other. Yeah, but, now I will say, driving north of here over the last month or so, we ran into some places like that where you couldn't use the bathroom, you couldn't, that kind of thing. Let me say this. I agree with what Steve Layton just said. Common sense could help solve a lot of this situation. I agree with that. You mentioned we had a conversation about, you think the handshake is over with. I do. Do you think that what do you think will take its place? You think this elbow bumping is? That's what I've been getting around town. I've had 1 or 2 handshakes extended to me, and I've reciprocated. I'm just, I'm probably not as far down the road as some of the other people with this thing, but I do want to be respectful. Sure. But I think I've done the fist bump, done the elbow bump, and it's kind of done the hey, how you doing? Yeah.
But
Good morning, Shannon Stillwell, Kathy
I really,
Tolan.
You know, I really think that I say that and it'll blow up in my face. I think we got things kind of figured out here. Like I've noticed, I'm a people watcher, and I've noticed, going out. Number one, I can't get over, and it fills my heart how supportive we have been of each other here. I haven't talked to anybody. I haven't talked to everybody, but it looks like Josh is going to make it through this with Camp 31 and Popeyes. Larry has echoed the same thing at Camp 31. Jason Castleberry's numbers have been good there at George's. Raj said that his numbers have been good there with the Country Express. So all that happened because people cared and people made it a point to support. I think they're having to redefine how they're going to do business day to day, and I think you'll see that. I think at Davis Catfish, for instance, you go in, you place your order, and you pay up front, and then you're served at your table just to cut down on personal contact.
Interaction, sure.
The buffet at Camp 31, they now have servers. Only, one or two people are handling the spoons, and you point what you want, and they give you, obviously, a healthy quantity. But things are going to be different from that standpoint, and I think they've learned I think all our business owners have learned how to do things to make it. But the people of this town have been so supportive, and I think here, I think we're doing it the right way.
I do too.
And
I'll say this too, and I mean this. We got to recognize the mayor and the city council and their efforts to make sure that, number one, they kind of got everybody out of the way that needed to be as far as City Hall being in and out, when all this kind of first shook out. And then, good morning, Dan and McClellan. And then on top of that, the city stepped up and just look at what all they've been involved in trying to keep some, money passed around and people, benefit and be able to, keep things going. And I think that's just been, absolute, that's been one of the big things that's helped keep our local economy, if not just limping along, it's still helped it to limp along.
In times of adversity, you have to have leadership. You lead from the front. Yank's been at the front.
Yeah.
I mean, and it kind of trickles down. There's been so many other people that have come. Sarge, you and Wade's efforts have been outstanding as well.
Outstanding.
And of course, they do that because they love this place. Just like the dozens and hundreds of others that have. But in saying that, when you talk about the mechanism going out a wave, and we had Dr. Mackey or on the phone several weeks ago. I had him a couple of times.
Which he's coming in.
Yeah,
I don't know if I told you that or not.
You haven't.
Yeah, he's physically.
He's going to be in Studio B?
He's coming to Studio B.
Wow.
The state superintendent of education.
Sooner rather than later?
Mackey, very soon.
Good. Awesome.
He's coming to Studio
Well,
B.
I have a follow-up question for him because one of the things that we talked about, and of course, this is new to them.
I want to know what his poll is.
This is this is
everybody has a poll.
This is new to everybody.
Stu,
everybody's got one. And he talked about, I remember one of the questions that we had for him was in terms of public education.
Yes.
Could some systems start back while others didn't if they were in heavily affected areas? And he talked about at that time that he didn't see it moving individually. We either all moved or we all didn't, is the way he said it at that time. I'm interested to see if that is still the play.
Right.
If that is still the mindset, because if you take into account some of the numbers that you see, we mentioned Montgomery earlier, still a hotbed. I think Birmingham's still having a pretty good boom up around the Anniston area as well. It's hard for me to see them ready to start back in August, September. But I think with some of the things that have gone on here and the leadership we have in place, I think that we could. And I don't know that we're going to be allowed to, but I think from a logistics standpoint, I think that we would probably be pretty close to starting at the traditional start time in the fall. But it'll be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to Dr. Mackey being here.
I am too. And now, and I'm not trying to open up a powder keg. I don't want it to sound like this. But have you noticed all of the different school systems and how they're going about graduation? Have you seen any of those posts and things?
Can I take a 20-second timeout?
Absolutely.
Scott Goolsby's in. Guess what happened to Scott?
Congratulations, Coach.
Defensive coordinator, Auburn High School.
That's right.
One of our guys.
Hey, congratulations, Coach.
We grow the best people right here.
That is all.
Congratulations, Coach.
I had seen him in here, but I saw it. What else you posted with Coach Juan Johnson?
Yes, sir. OC. Now, how would it? What would happen if Hewitt, Trussville, and Auburn hooked up somewhere down the road?
Man,
that would be
awesome.
Must see.
It'd be must see.
We would have to pile out of the Dirty 30 and go Battle Murder Creek.
That would be.
That'd be good.
That'd be good.
Congratulations to both of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what were you saying?
Well,
graduation.
Yeah. Have you had a chance to see a lot of the posts that the school systems are doing and making and how they're doing graduations? A lot of different things going on out there. I'm not talking about anybody local or anybody not. I'm talking about just every other school system you see on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. They're doing something this way or doing something that way, doing something this way. I don't know if there's any right way or wrong way is what I'm trying to say. But what do you think about, graduation and, because normally you got an auditorium full of parents, full of relatives, and then you got 80, 100, 120 kids, or in our area schools, all piled in together. I do understand. I think Neal High School's having theirs outside in the football stadium. Mm-hmm. So that, in my opinion, now look, I'm not a doctor, but I do think that helps when you're outdoors. I think it helps a lot.
You got a probe.
Yeah, I do have. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Well, you said it. This is unprecedented. So there's not a playbook for this. Nobody has a plan of what to do when the if is this. So certainly not having all the information. I can certainly appreciate the position that our educational administrators are in. I mean, they're responsible for a lot of folks.
Oh, man.
I don't think anybody doesn't want this to be a great time for these graduating seniors. Okay, so you can take that off the table. I think everybody understands the importance of it. Everybody understands the lifelong commitment to get to this point. And somebody's got to decide, we're going to do it like this, we're going to do it like that, we're going to do it whatever. But in the back of your mind, you're that guy or you're that gal. You're responsible, for all these people being in that proximity. So I understand what's on their shoulders also. In saying that, I don't have a right or wrong answer or a solution for all of it.
No.
I think you do what you feel comfortable doing, and you try to be as smart as you can while doing it.
So it's a great time to segue into that. A lot of things have been canceled. Guess what hasn't?
The Dirty 30 Jam?
It has not.
Still on go.
It is still on. Saturday, July 18th. When I
O'Bannon Park.
Oh yeah, when I came settled on that date, I'm not gonna lie to you, I wasn't real happy about it, and I wasn't real happy about it because of July and hot, all that kind of stuff, and I was trying to get away from something. Well, let me tell you this: I'm glad now that it worked out like that, because everything else around has been canceled.
Mm-hmm.
So we could very well be the only thing to have to do that Saturday, besides maybe the beach. And
I'm looking forward to that.
Great lineup. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. Also want to put this out. We are definitely we're going to be back Monday through Friday.
Yes.
Show starts every morning, 7:30.
We're back.
Yeah.
It's back.
We ain't going anywhere. Not unless we get put off there. That could happen. No, I can't actually on this. So, I mean, they may not like it, but it doesn't matter. But we're going to be back here in the morning at 7:30. We're going to be here every Monday through Friday at 7:30. And we got some other things planned coming up as well that we're going to kind of be out and about and, doing and that kind of thing. And so, I can't, I'm not saying it's top secret. I'm just saying I don't have all the schedule in front of me, but I will say this. I will say there's a trailer that in the future that you guys are going to get to see that we're going to use and show up and do some, what do you call them, remotes?
Remotes. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
going back to the Dirty 30 Jam.
Yeah.
If things rock on and we are able to have that here on that day, and one of the bands that'll be there will be the Velcro Pygmies.
That's correct.
If they choose to play Enter Sandman by Metallica, what would that do to the social distancing up and around the stage?
Well, I'm going to tell you something.
Get a little tight.
Yeah. And what I'm hoping is that by that time, those guidelines have got even more relaxed.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can, not have to worry about that. Again, we're going to be outside. It's going to be real hot. And, I've read 6,000 stories that said that the heat, work.
Yeah.
Now, I read 6,000 said it doesn't. So I don't know. Who knows? But I do know it's going to be fun. I know it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun for Bruton. It's going to be a lot of fun, with just what's it been, a couple of years since we did one? Mm-hmm. And I know we had a blast at the first two.
Had a good time.
Yeah. So, and this one's going to be even better because we don't have Prince, but we have the second best thing.
Don't we?
If he's not, I don't know what to tell you. So, and we have the Pigs.
And we have
we have Telluride.
The
Telluride. So yeah. Don Thompson's a little disappointed this morning. No matching shirts. We didn't get the memo. So
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What do you think about this vaccine, if and when it comes out, and some of the dialogue associated with it is mandatory?
I just had a conversation with someone about this over the weekend. Well, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna say it like this. When we were young and we got ready to go to kindergarten, St. Stephen's, whatever, you went and you got vaccines, correct?
Yes.
And you got booster shots the next year.
Yes.
I don't remember I don't remember my parents having a say in whether or not you could do that or not. I remember, if you want to come to this school, we need this paper that shows you've been vaccinated for this. So, I don't know if it was mandatory then. I don't have an answer to that, but I know, I do know this, and the analogy I want to say, I'm not going to say, because I've already told you that analogy. Mm-hmm. But it's like mono. I mean, back in our day, everybody seemed to get mono. You know what I'm saying? And mono was one of those things they didn't have a cure for. It was just, make you real like sleepy and tired and all this kind of stuff. And you went to bed and you stayed in bed for a little while and then you got over it, right? And then once you got over it, it was done. You had it. There was nothing else. Bam. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And like now you don't even hear anything about that. Chicken pox. Kids don't have chicken pox anymore. You don't hear anything about it. My thinking is I just don't know. I'm one of these people that says if you're going to go and be at a public school around hundreds of people, kids, teachers, parents, faculty, administrators, whatever, I kind of side on the and I'm not saying, let me say this, I'm not about telling somebody what they have to or not have to do, but I'm on the side of saying my kid was vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was also in the military where they put you on an assembly line to give you shots, where you didn't have a choice. You walked down, they had some on each side hitting you in the arm as you walked down through the center. So, I don't really.
I can get the school part of it. if it's funded by state dollars or federal dollars, they can put guidelines in place.
Right,
I get it.
right.
Now, you don't have to have it, but if you're going to go to school here, you're going to have it.
That's where I'm at.
But let me tell you this, and I try to be an easygoing guy. Try to be. I don't try to start a bunch of crap. I just try to, stay in the middle, stay in my lane. If they come out with mandatory vaccinations for all of us, I'm going straight Red Dawn. And if anybody wants to be a Wolverine, come on. I am. They are not. I promise you.
I'm laughing because I love that movie.
I'm going straight Red Dawn.
Wait, have you seen the new one?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think it even touches the
No,
old one?
no,
The old one's the best.
No, yeah.
Anyway, I didn't mean to get over that, but I love that movie.
Yeah.
I don't know that, and let me say this: I don't know that they'll do that. But I mean, I'm not trying to compare it to the flu.
Do you get the flu shot?
Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah, I do.
I've never taken it. Of course, I've never had the flu either.
But all they do is they just guess at which strain it is.
Yeah,
and that's what they give you. I mean, my thing is this: if they could come up with a cure for this COVID-19, have a great day, Gail. If they come up with a cure for COVID-19, then can't they cure the common cold? Because the coronavirus is a cold. Now, let me ask you a question. Would you take a shot to cure the common cold?
No.
I mean, I'm not.
I don't do medicine.
You don't like medicine?
I'm not going to take it.
I guess it's one of those things where, for me,
to me, it's just a matter of principality. I appreciate it being there, but I still think it ought to be a choice. I mean, I don't see how, and let me say this. I'm gonna poke at Chip a little bit, and Chip's heart is the size of Texas, for those of you who don't know this. But when he was panicking, I mean, he had a store that had infection. I mean, he was.
I know he was.
He was on full tilt.
I was too.
And he was making his phone calls, and let me say this: he was looking out for his people. He was making it a point to look out for his people, and he called me that Saturday morning and said, "You got to be up at the medical center between 9 and 4 to get tested." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, I'm not getting tested." And he said, "Why?" And I said, "I'm not sick." And he said, "Let me call our risk management officer and see if that's okay." And I understood where his mind was going. He was, I kind of hung up the phone. I said, "Let me see. Okay, I just told Chip that I'm not going to the doctor, and he's calling a person to see if it's okay if I don't go." So I waited for the follow-up phone call. I said, "Well, Chip," he called me back, and he said, "So-and-so said you didn't have to go." And I said, "Well, that's great, because I wasn't going, and you weren't going to make me go."
Hey, now I will say this too, and I want to make this very clear. Chip and Ann went above and beyond on that whole deal.
Above and beyond.
And I'm talking about
above and beyond.
I'm not sitting there trying to blow that horn. I'm just telling the truth.
They did.
They did.
They did.
I mean, they absolutely did.
Above and beyond.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you this. I felt more clean in them stores than I have in, I don't know, ever.
I felt guilty going in. I mean, I said, "My gosh, man. I mean, that shirt. I guess it's okay to walk in here."
Man, but, I will say this too. There are a lot of people that get cancer that decide, "I'm not taking treatment."
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? I mean, if this thing is as contagious, and you have, and if you can believe I do remember all those hot rod. If you can believe all the stuff that you've read, they claim that, probably 80% of the population of this country is going to be exposed whether they have a symptom or not. So if you're walking around without any symptoms, then, at some point you get past what they claim as being contagious. And so if that happens, so you're a carrier now. Okay, great. I think we carry a lot of things.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just one of these that, I don't think that, are you asking me would I go take the vaccine? Yeah, I'd take it. But let me say this: I've had the when that first Gulf War was going on, you can't imagine. And Hot Rod can tell you, you can't imagine the number of shots we had to take.
I have no problem. I just don't think it can be mandated. I gotta when it comes to being mandated, is where it bumps up against those. I don't know. That just rubs me the wrong way.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, and listen, you're gonna say I'm being real whatever here. I think that's the smaller part of this story, though, is the vaccination side of it, as far as mandatory or not mandatory. What I'm looking at is when you send now I'm not talking about our local government. I'm not talking about Yank or Chief McGugan or anybody in our local area, Sheriff Jackson, nobody like that. You read these stories. When you send police in to shut down a religious service, to me, then that's where you're getting into that territory where that Constitution, you can hang your hat on it. And, I just think that there are going to be a lot of people that shut those services down that are going to be have a lot to answer for. Let me say that.
And none of that's happened around here.
None.
That hasn't happened here. That's on the national scope.
Make that real clear. Has not happened around here. But that being said, I think there's what you're talking about is part of that whole deal. How much freedom have we given up? Were we forced to give up because of a global pandemic?
Well, see, I don't know that we were forced. I think we were asked, and we voluntarily gave it up. There was very little pushback in some of those areas, in my opinion.
Okay. Let me say this then. I think the people around here, did the right thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm putting a feather in our cap.
Sure.
I think we took the information that we had, and we've just used decent sense to make day-to-day decisions to where it works for all of us, but you're not really being asked to give up any of your civil liberties. You compromise them to a degree for respect out of your neighbor.
Well, sure.
But I don't know.
But what I'm saying is, when you start trampling on that First Amendment and, freedom of religion, and that right there gets into an area that I think is going to cause some states some real big problems.
Yeah.
Some real big problems. Now, again, I'm not saying that's I'm not saying that's a bad thing. What I'm saying, I'm throwing that out there because, what you're talking about do you vaccinate, do you not vaccinate? Again, I think that's going to be a, choice that people just have to make. I mean, there are people every year that get the flu shot. There are people that don't get the flu shot. You know what I'm saying?
And as long as it's left to a choice, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
I've seen some language and some dialogue that is taking the choice out of it.
Well, but let's also remember, too, that hadn't happened yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I'll have to see that happen to believe that's about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, let's move on away from this virus. I mean, we talked. You know what I'm saying? I think we talked enough about that. I do want to talk about one thing. I rode by yesterday, and there was no north side tire.
Well, if you'd gone on 41, you'd have seen Jernigan Normeyer gone also.
I was like, but then I realized the building behind Northside is where.
Is that where he's going to
that's
start?
where they've moved.
Okay, I didn't know that.
That's where Wesley's moved into.
Okay.
But I didn't realize that until I looked.
Yeah.
And I like he slowed down to look because I was like, wow, what happened to Northside? You're talking about Jernigan Normeyer, of course, the Kelly Center down, those types of things. I'm gonna be real honest with you. I think that a lot of the things going on downtown, some of it obviously because of the what we've been going through. People have been having slowed down or what have you. But I can't wait to see the finished project down there.
I'm going to tell you, and that kind of takes me to this point, and a lot of times when you have misinformation or incomplete information, all of us at different times are bad to come up with our opinion on things, not understanding the big picture. I remember back when the Kelly Center, you mentioned just a moment ago, was being taken down for Provalis to build their compound or whatnot, and there was several businesses located in the Kelly Center that were being relocated, and I think the city was helping with those expenses. I think the city did their due diligence to provide other places for them to work out of, and there was some hard feelings there. You know, in the beginning, you saw some different things on Facebook with people kind of drawing a line in the sand and saying this and saying that. Well, I would offer this. If you're out and about on Highway 31 and you're coming down past Just Due, look at where Verabella Salon is going to open up. That is going to be a showpiece. Have you seen that? That's going to be a nice, I would argue that it's probably nicer than what they came from.
It is beautiful.
It's beautiful.
And I don't know who, was that Clay that designed? I mean, I don't know who designed it.
I think the city has a partnership in it. I'm not saying they've incurred all the expense, but they played a role in getting that. And Clay was another one who was, it was moved out of downtown.
Sure.
And of course, that was but their setup there is nice.
It is nice.
It's going to dress up, and they're doing something in the old gas station. I don't know what that is, but there's something going on there.
That's been going on for a while, and I'm not real sure what that is either. So if somebody could know, look at that. Chef Adam, they're making a fresh batch of Monroe burgers today.
Watch out.
It's today. How long have employees been back? Like, I'll say employees, people been back serving and things at Camp 31, David's, and that kind of, I mean.
I was in there last week, and they had them back.
They did. I know
they may have been before then, but I saw them last week.
I know they had a skeleton crew there, for a while. So, hey, that's awesome. If you want a good burger, go by there and see Chef Adam. Speaking of good times, how was the crawfish boil at David's at George's Barbecue this weekend?
I don't eat crawfish, but I did make it a point to ride by there several times, and it looked like it was continuous in terms of the crowd. They had a band, the Hart Station played out in the parking lot, and there was good flow through there. That started on the crawfish. I think started on Friday afternoon. I think Hart Station was playing on Saturday.
Okay,
but they had good flow there throughout the day.
When you got crawfish and music, that typically brings some folks out.
Yeah, I'll do it.
So I didn't know if that was the parking lot pretty full.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine it probably was a great time. So back to the downtown area, and speaking of Provalis, we need to talk to Will and get Will to come on one morning with us.
He'd do it
and talk about the things that are going on down with Provalis, and
he'll do it.
Talk about when I was told that initially they were looking for around 300 or so employees. Now, because of certain things happening and the way things are going, I'm told that they've bumped that number up to maybe 500, 600, 700 employees. Wow. That'd be big.
Wow.
I mean, you got to consider what did Julie tell us that they had at Georgia Pacific, actually worked at Georgia Pacific for them. It was less than 500, was it not?
I think it was. I can't remember.
Yeah. So, I mean, that would be that'd be something to see right there.
Yeah.
That many people in downtown.
Definitely.
And especially the way things are shaping up down there, it looks really nice. Going to look even better. And I think you're talking about Verabella. I think Verabella's any of those businesses in there. That's a great. I mean, how much traffic's on that road a day?
Yeah.
That's a great area to be. A lot of traffic passes by right there. So let's talk about something fun. I'll say fun, maybe fun. I've been working on something that I think would be a good time. And no, it's not anything to do with the Red Room. So I noticed that Donald Thompson wanted to know if Tatiana had cut your hair while in quarantine. Have you had it skint at all?
Oh yeah.
All right, well, let me ask you this. Are you having like private?
Yeah.
Is that how that's working?
have a friend.
Tell you what, man, it must be nice. It must be nice. Hey, speaking of that downtown, I want to mention this real quick. Finally going to get Highway 31 paved.
What?
Finally.
When did they release that?
I was told last night that they were going to have a couple of weeks. They were going to start paving Highway 31, and I don't know if that means on one side of town all the way through. I'm not real sure, but we'll have the road closings and that kind of thing to let you guys know what to look for and that kind of thing. But hey, it's finally going to get paved, and that's all that matters.
It's needed.
It's definitely needed,
to say the least. Well, that's great.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that we all can tolerate some road closures and be inconvenienced for a time to get that road straightened out, because it's a mess.
Yes, it is. And I'll tell you this, I want to say this too. They did a great job of Sour Road.
Oh,
Man, I used to drive that every morning, still do, going to the Ford store.
yeah.
And I can tell you right now that when I couldn't drive it, I got so used to like making that turn, I've had to catch myself and keep going straight. But man, they did a great job on that.
Looks good.
And it looks good. Looks great. So again, I one thing that I do like, the city, and they even during this time where maybe City Hall's not been open and that kind of thing, they're still doing what they got to do. Still taking care of business. Yeah, mm-hmm. I mean, fire department's still there. We had a little mishap the other day at the Ford store.
Yes, we did.
and we got to see all of Bruton's finest first responders show up and help out, and it was good to see. So, how about that? Oh,
I went to the drive-in. I took Lindsay to the drive-in a week ago.
Out there at the park? I mean, at the racetrack?
Yeah.
How was it?
They had a double feature. We got there. We went and ate dinner, and then got there as the first movie was winding down, and I can't remember even the name of it. But the second movie was Grease. And we watched Grease, and, of course, her favorite movie now is Grease. She's got her mother to rent it for her, that she's watched it 5 or 6 times.
I mean,
but that was fun. We had a good time.
How about that? There's kind of be from Burnt Corn Bridge to Tiger Drive. It's going to be resurfaced.
There you go.
That's fantastic, and it needs it. But I'll tell you what, kudos to Connie and the city for working to get that done. Because let me tell you, a lot of people don't know this, and I'm not trying to brag or blow sunshine on Connie. A lot of people don't realize, and we've said this a lot.
Yeah.
Of how hard she has to work to get these types of things done and taken care of. Obviously the mayor works. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they all work in that same direction. But obviously everybody knows Connie can write. She knows how to write these things and get these things, get people, moving and that kind of thing. And I'm telling you, she's done a great job making that happen.
Well, also, and I think most people know this, 31, that's federal pavement. And I know it runs through our town, but when it's U.S. Highway 31, it's a different set of money that it comes from.
Sure.
And the fact that I think if it was such and such avenue in the city of Bruton, it'd have been done years ago.
Oh, absolutely.
But when you have some federal funding there to assist or complete the entire project, as painful as it may be, from a monetary standpoint, you have to wait on that to be on the rotation, and we are thankful that is happening, and they'll get it knocked out, and we'll be better for it.
Connie said the first time she ever heard of a car dealership with a drive-through. I want to tell you something about that situation. I don't want to get too deep into it, but when the young woman got out, the vehicle was still in reverse, and the only thing that was holding that vehicle from moving at all was the building. It looked like, you remember Casino and the hole in the wall gang where they'd pull the van up and they'd cut a hole?
Yeah.
It looked like the hole in the wall gang had been there.
The best part of that story, This lady drove into the Ford building, for those of you who don't know. It was on accident. She thought she was going forward. She went reverse, and she stomped on it, and she came into Chip's bathroom. We were in the other side of the building on the service side, and you heard it hit, and you're like, man, that doesn't sound good.
I watched it.
Okay.
I was out there watching it happen.
The best part of the story is, bless her heart, this lady drives into the building. Police is called, ambulance is called, fire department's called. They're en route. She gets out of her truck. She comes to service to check on her recall. And I'm looking at her. I said, lady, okay, first of all, your elbow's bleeding. You just drove through the building, and you don't have a recall. But I appreciate your
Winning.
She meant that she was going to find out about that RS-18.
Let me tell you something. If she had not started cutting that steering wheel like she did, she was going straight through those plate glass windows in my office.
Oh, my gosh.
And she'd have been in the sales office.
She's been
in the middle of the dealership because there's nothing there to stop her.
Of course, when I was walking her back out, she was saying,
Hey, Hank Palmer.
She was saying, well, I'm sure they're going to make me pay for this.
Oh, Coach, looks like, so Coach Baker and Greg Albritton helped move that project up the list.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Greg.
There you go. Thank y'all. Yeah, that was a crazy thing.
Yeah.
Like it, when things like that.
What day was that?
Was
Thursday?
I thought it was like Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Yeah,
Okay.
Or Thursday, one of the day. When something like that happens in front of you, and like you're seeing it happen, everything just starts in slow motion.
Yeah.
I'm screaming and yelling, and she's just looking at me, and I know, bless her heart, she thought she was hitting the brake, but right as she got to the building, she gouged on it. So that was a crazy thing. I mean, it really was. But hey, nobody was hurt. Everybody was fine.
It's already been fixed.
It's hard, yeah. And so shout out to Halsey for that. Thank you, Jerry.
Yep.
For coming out and getting that taken care of. And, like I said, no harm, no foul. Everybody's good. And so it all worked out like it should have. But, man, it's always okay. Speaking of that, we got to give Chip, we got to give a shout out to Chip. When we decided to come back and do this from 7:30 to 9, we were like, hey, listen, we want to push the show up because 6 o'clock is just too early. Yeah. Really not for us because we get up, but like it's just too early for people. So that's why we start at 7:30, and he was gracious enough to let us do that. Thank you. We'll say thanks to Chip and of course Ann and a lot of good things going on at both of the dealerships. I can tell you this, and I'm not talking about hours, but car sales, they're down, but they're not down as bad as they thought. And a lot of people are looking at, they're saying, hey, I'm done with flying. I'm done with riding a bus. I'm done with riding a train. We're going to start, So I know right now, people don't mind gas being $1.60 or whatever a gallon, but I can tell you, I think there's probably fixing to be a lot more people on the road driving cars than there used to be.
0% interest and no payment for 6 months helps.
Yeah, that helps. That helps. I mean, it absolutely does. So, good morning, Heath Madison.
Do you remember a time, you've been in it for 20-something years, do you remember a time with it being 0%?
Yeah, we've had 0%, but never for 84 months.
Yeah.
And never with not a payment not due for 4 months. If they were to come out right now and say, here's 0%, 84 months, and oh, by the way, here's $10,000 worth of rebate.
What's a normal interest rate? In normal times, normal circumstances, somebody with good credit, what would be a normal interest rate?
Man, 2.9%, something like that.
So it's free money.
Yeah. But here's my thing. I don't understand why the Fed hasn't dropped the rates to do negative interest rates like they are in a lot of countries around the world, because guess what? Then they start paying the banks that are taking the money from them interest on that money, which means you get even lower interest rates.
Wow.
I mean, could you imagine walking in
No.
and being able to get and you look at the interest rate and it says negative 1.99?
Yeah, no.
I mean, at that point in time, you're like, listen, I'll take 2.
Yeah. And do you do houses?
Right. Can you refinance my house? Because I'm going to look doing that. You know, one time, this has been 15 years ago, Bank of America had a thing where if you had a certain credit score, you could walk in, and if you had $300,000 worth of credit card debt and house payment and car payment, you could consolidate all those on one car loan.
Really?
You could buy a car and put all
Everything?
that stuff on that note.
Wow.
Is that crazy?
That's crazy.
Now they didn't last but about 6 months. So, you know, it didn't last, but hey, it was it lasted longer than I thought it would. I will say that. So well, let's do this, man. It's Monday. I hadn't done it in a while, and you know, I just been waiting to do this because it just is what it is. And I think everybody knows what that means.
Tell you.
So what is DJ's top 5 going to be Monday, May, what is this, the 18th?
I think that's right.
Yeah, Monday, May 18th, 2020, right here on the Coin Stream.
I tell you, I'm going to do it a little different today. A little different.
Okay.
The top 5 today, and this is going to be from somebody who doesn't pull for Alabama, okay?
Okay.
Well, let me just say this. I always pull for Alabama unless they're playing.
Right.
But this is the top 5 players, in my opinion, to play at Alabama University that I've been able to watch in my lifetime.
Okay. Top 5 players. Let's get it right.
This is from an opponent's standpoint.
the top 5 players
From an opponent's standpoint.
this to play at Alabama from an opponent standpoint.
Okay, number 5.
Number 5.
In these two, it's going to be 2 guys, but they were synonymous. Copeland and Curry. The 2 defensive ends, 1992 national championship team. They were, to say they were a wrecking crew is putting it lightly.
Yes.
You couldn't, I mean, when you can rush 2 and drop 9 to defend the pass, okay, it can get pretty easy, and they could.
that whole defense.
Man,
I mean, you know.
I'm going to go Copeland and Curry.
Yeah.
Number 5.
Hard to argue that. Number 5, Copeland and Curry. Number 4.
I think this guy gets overlooked in the conversation. Alabama's had a lot of good running backs, and I think this guy gets overlooked, and I can tell you he was just – the longer the game went, the more devastating he became. And, of course, he had a lot of good players around him also that helped him. But Shaun Alexander was amazing.
I think you're right. I agree with that totally.
Number 3.
Number 3.
It's going to stay in the backfield, Derrick Henry.
Oh,
I think the last Iron Bowl he played in, Alabama ran the ball 17 times in a row. He had every carry. Everybody knew who was getting it. It was a very competitive game. It was a 1-score game going into that drive, and it was late, and Auburn didn't have an answer for him. But he was a man.
he was a beast.
He was a man.
He was, no doubt. Number 2.
Number 2, I'm going to go with Derek Thomas. And I'm going to tell you, this is another one.
DT.
This is another one that doesn't get talked about.
He does not.
And I don't know if you know this. He has the SEC record, single season record for sacks.
I did not know that.
All right, 25. Now, I want you to understand this. When he played, they only played 11 games,
Right.
not 12.
Right.
When he played, teams typically threw it 25 times a game, not 45 times a game.
Right.
So your opportunities to get after the passer, you know, now granted, the schemes are a little different. There's a little more drop back, but 25 sacks in 11 games.
That's amazing.
It'll never be broken.
No,
It'll never be broken.
No. I mean that is amazing. Number 1.
Number 1.
Who's it gonna be?
And I've got a story to go along with this. This is my opinion, and I think he was ahead of his time. I think if he played today, he would do whatever he wanted, and he would probably be in the NFL doing it as well, is David Palmer. The Deuce.
David Palmer.
I'll tell you something, man. Let me tell you my David Palmer story. I was at Auburn every Saturday. It's before internet. Every Saturday, we'd get the newspapers and we'd look and you'd see what your high school did. You know, the night before on Friday night. Well, we had a kid up here by the name of Ryan Gibson.
Yes, we did.
And I told everybody at 715 West Magnolia, Sigma Newhouse in Auburn, Ryan Gibson's going to win Mr. Alabama. He ran for 2,500 yards. He had 35 touchdowns. He was just amazing. I mean, I would take people home on weekends, on Friday nights, to watch him play. Then we'd go back to Auburn after the game.
He was amazing.
Well, for 14 weeks, I was Gibson. He's going to win Mr. Alabama. If he doesn't win it, they need to quit giving the award. They hand the award out. I come down there to the cafeteria. I said, let me tell you something. I said, I don't know who this David Palmer is, but he's not better than Ryan Gibson. Well, that next fall in Legion Field, I found out that Mr. Palmer could play too.
Yeah.
He was amazing. David Palmer, the Deuce, was amazing. That's it.
And there you have it. An unbiased.
Unbiased. And that was fair.
Fair.
That was, I mean, those were all great players.
Fair top five.
Think about the players who weren't mentioned. Those were great players.
Yeah, I mean, Cornelius Bennett.
Bennett was a great player.
Jay Barker.
Okay. Mac Jones. Any of the kickers.
Antonio Langham.
Yeah. He was great. He was great.
George Teague.
They were all paid.
So, I mean, you know, that's a lot of great players that have been through there.
I sometimes get accused of being a little critical of that team and that school and those players and those coaches.
No.
I thought that was fair.
I thought it was very fair. That was definitely a fair poll. Anybody that's got a problem with that poll, you know, I don't really know what to say to you. I mean, I'm not sure that we can. I'm just not sure. I don't know what to say to you.
I thought about putting Derek Thomas 1, but he was special, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's an understatement as well, is it not?
Yeah.
I mean, that guy was he was a full grown man.
Yes, he was.
Let me see here. I can find something for. No, I don't. I'll tell you what. If you say things the wrong way, Siri will pick up and start doing crazy stuff, won't she?
Are we off?
No.
Oh.
I'm just saying. I just mentioned something, and next thing I know, my phone's going crazy. So,
I've noticed a pretty good shine on my head today. I might have to get some base or something, maybe.
some bass.
Isn't that what they call it?
Oh yeah, I don't know.
I've
You
got
talking about like makeup?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably offensive to the 4 or 5 people that are actually watching this.
Well, I mean, I was trying to. I don't know where I did with it. Oh well, it won't matter. Tell you what, though, I will say this: you named off a lot of great players. And one reason I want to do that, I want to go here. Auburn says they're playing football in the fall.
There you go.
Did I see correctly? The guy from the SEC said they're playing football, whether or not anybody else was.
Yeah, he didn't say when they were going to start, but he said they're going to play. They have to. I mean, it's the economic engine that runs the school. I mean, sure. I think this most recent season, each of the SEC schools got a $54 million piece of pie.
Right.
Okay. If that money goes away, you know what else goes away? Everything.
Everything.
You've already seen some of these smaller schools, some of these smaller conferences that are closing up sports. Bowling Green, Division I, has already canceled their baseball team. They won't have a baseball team. They can't afford it.
Really?
They're cutting costs. The Pac, and I can tell you something that's going to be interesting to follow. The Pac-10 is not going to play. Alabama's scheduled to play USC in the opener. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
USC's not going to play.
Yeah, no. I didn't see that one happening either. Wow, that's crazy. That is just that. So you don't think any of that's going to happen?
I don't think that they're going to play. I think we're going to play. I'll tell you what's interesting. Guess who Ohio State is scheduled to play in the opener?
Who?
Oregon. Guess what conference Oregon is in? The Pac-10.
Pac-10.
They're not going to play. So let's see here. If Alabama's game gets canceled and if Ohio State's game gets canceled and they're both looking for a week 1 opponent, You reckon anybody line up to watch that one? I don't believe Saban would do it.
You don't think he'd do it?
No. You don't know that.
Wow. Well, something to think about. Let me ask you this. Did your choosing to go to the drive-in theater have anything to do with the movie being Grease?
It went through my mind. And I was trying to tell Lindsay, I said, Lindsay, I understand this is the production. I've seen it done better. I've seen it done much better. And she kept asking me why I was smiling. And I just, took me back to a safe time.
What did you say? This right here.
Right here.
It's just up.
Right
It's
here.
my safe place.
Right here, man. I mean, yeah.
How do you sing along while you're doing yoga? Don't tell me that you hadn't watched.
Only every one of them, 2 or 3 times.
Do you sing along or do you do you just let it happen? Do you just you and the earth become one and you do your deal. Had Ron and team at my house for hamburgers, he ate 5. That's what the Wheeze said.
Who's Ryan?
I think he's talking about Ron Gibson.
Oh,
I think. I may be wrong.
yeah. I guess that's what he's saying. Yeah.
Sargi says Alabama going to open with TCU.
There goes Zeb. You don't know Zebedee Bry, do you?
I do
Let me
not.
tell you something. Zebedee, he was a couple years ahead of me in school, but he was a friend of all of ours. He was a phenom on the football field. He left us, I don't know, 7th, 8th, 9th grade, somewhere, and went out to California, played out there, played college out there at Sacramento. But had he stayed here,
It'd been
on top of what we already had,
It'd been on.
ooh,
Even worse.
Woo, Zebedee Bry, good man.
Wow.
Thanks for being in with us this morning, Zeb.
Were you playing the night that number 1 from Pike County ran down the sidelines?
No, that was the year after I left. That was the Coleman kid, Steve Coleman.
He I'm gonna tell you something. That guy was unbelievable.
He was great.
He was
great.
I mean, he was unbelievable. That's the first and only running back I've ever seen run down the sidelines at Municipal Stadium, shooting the home team the bird.
He did that.
He did that. That happened. I mean, that's a stone cold fact.
That happened.
So, hey, real quick, let's talk about some local things. Talk a little bit about the YMCA and what's going on up there and what is it going on and where are y'all at with that deal?
I went by there this morning. I had to drop something off for Coach Dickey, and Mac Baxter is out front, and he's taking your temperature before you go in.
Okay.
He pops you in the forehead with a little gun.
Sure.
And if you clear that, you go in. Water fountains are turned off. There are the marking spots in some of the workout rooms of where you're supposed to work out from to observe the social distancing. All the safety measures you can think of are in place at the Y. One of the things that Coach Dickey and the board is waiting on is the governor to rescind the order in terms of gathering. That's why we haven't started baseball or softball or the like. The teams are picked. The uniforms are ordered. The equipment's handed out.
Is that coming?
It's coming.
Do we have any indication?
It's going to be on the governor. But like Coach says, who's to say we're not playing baseball in July and August?
Well, sure.
I mean, you got 8 weeks to get it in.
Right.
Certainly we would have, this is not the best case scenario, but we're going to play baseball and softball. We're waiting on the governor to lax those orders a little bit. Certainly want to be in compliance and do what the leadership of the state says to do. But he has the go-ahead from his board that if and when she does that, we're going to play.
Where is the what about the Babe Ruth field? What's the latest on it?
It is ready for sod. It's to grade. They got to get the sod down. When that's done, you'll see the lights come up and then the permanent fencing. So obviously not going to play on that this year. All indications and hopes are we will play it next year. It'll also be the baseball facility for the middle school team. So that'll take some of the wear and tear off the Miller Cruise
Sure.
to get that bunch over there. So that'll be a big help to both those programs, the middle school and the summer program.
So, talking about high school, do you foresee high school football this fall?
That's interesting. I'm kind of back and forth on it. Once again, I'm not putting economics ahead of health, but I know if you don't have high school football, that generates revenue. If you don't have high school football, then you're not going to have golf, you're not going to have tennis, you're not going to have wrestling because you have no money to fund those programs.
Right.
So I hope there's high school football because I don't want to see the other stuff go away. I think at T.R. Miller, and I might be wrong here in terms of
have a great day, Tracy Steele.
Making the football team is the cash cow, and the track team, believe it or not, generates a good bit of money. Coach Axon's done a good job with the regional track meets and not hosting those things.
Yes.
So those are the ones that combined pay the bills for everything else. So are we going to start on time? I don't know. I have some doubts there. If, going back to what Dr. Mackey said, if we all have to start at the same time, I don't see it.
It's going to be tough to do.
I saw over the weekend Sacred Heart, it's a private school up around Anniston. They've won the last 4 state championships in basketball, most recently in 2A, the 3 before that in 1A. They've canceled. That's the state champs. That's the 4th time to finish state champs.
Like canceled football season.
They canceled their athletics.
Like for
they're going to reassess next year. They're done this year. They're out. So, that's the team.
Am I wrong in saying this? But
they're the team that broke Georgiana's heart 2 years in a row.
I was going to say, don't that put you in a real bad spot?
Yeah, it is a bad spot. It's a bad spot.
Speaking of that, have a good one, Heather. Speaking of that, what about the new hire at St. Michael?
Ooh, coach in waiting. Ooh, they made a splash. You reckon?
Like, what's the story with that? The coach in waiting thing. I can't make heads or tails of it.
Everybody knew that St. Michael's was coming 4 years ago.
Right.
When they made the announcement, they were going to break ground. They were going to be a new Catholic school in the area. And, of course, everybody knew or knows that they're going to be a monster.
Right.
Because they're going to recruit. McGill Tulin's kind of had the run of the roost down there for years and years and years. You think about a new facility, new program, great education, and then all of a sudden you get a chance to go play for a Hall of Fame quarterback, Phillip Rivers. They're gonna be a monster. They'll be a monster. It won't be this year, next year, maybe the next year, but they're coming. You can get ready for that.
Yeah, and that's what I was sitting there looking at that, and this guy's going to be, I'm going to tell you something. I don't know how you, that's tough. That's going to be tough. That guy's he's getting paid $25 million this year to play in the NFL. Speaking of that, is Brady going to do anything?
Yeah, I think he probably will.
You think he can do well down there?
They've surrounded him with a lot of good football players. I think that one of the things that's going to be interesting to watch, they on roster, they already had O.J. Howard, the great tight end from Alabama University.
Right.
And he's had a couple of nice years in the NFL. He's probably upper echelon tight end in the NFL. Well, now they've signed Gronk. So I can tell you who's went to second string. O.J. They've got the best second string tight end in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're thinking you think he's going to be okay down there?
Yeah, I think he'll be all right. Well, they don't let you hit the quarterback anymore. They've taken – you can't touch them. So that's why you'll see these guys playing longer. He's going to be, what, 43?
Yes.
Let Lawrence Taylor come off that corner.
So –
see how long you play.
In saying that, wonder why they don't wait until August to decide about basketball. Have they canceled basketball?
I think everything's up in the air. I don't think they've canceled basketball, but it's just going to be one of those things. If you don't have football, this is my opinion. If you don't have football in any form or fashion, then you can't have any. You can't pay your bills.
It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like Sister said right there, he's never coached. He may be able to play, but he's never coached. I know that doesn't necessarily transfer into being a great coach. I know being a great player or being a great coach don't transfer into, what have you. I mean, vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd still say that's a big splash.
It's a big splash.
So, well, I'll tell you what, man. It's been fun to kick this thing back off this morning.
Yeah.
Again, we're going to be here Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. ish.
And you never know where else we may show up.
Yeah, we subject to show up all over the place from this point forward. Got some things in the works. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think you guys will enjoy what we got planned to do, hopefully. And, that should be a big time. And, y'all, here's the thing. If you haven't went out and visited our good friend Micah at Murder Creek Distilleries, if you need some hand sanitizer, go out there and see him. Now, let me say this. Don't drink it. That stuff, ooh. That stuff, I promise you, you feel clean when you get through wiping with that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That stuff works right there. Chef Adam said they had a bunch of Monroe burgers they're making up today. So if you got a hanger from Monroe Burger, you can go by and check them out. Monday, I don't think David's is open on Monday, are they?
They are not.
Yeah, I don't think they are. Of course, I think Camp 31 is, and Chef Adam and the bunch down there. So y'all go see Chef Adam, and of course, I don't think Jason's open today either, is he?
I don't know. I'm not sure about his schedule.
Well, the great thing is the several restaurants are still here, still doing their deal, they're still putting out great food.
Danny Smith's open.
And I was about to say, he's still doing his deal. So, a lot of great things going on out there. And a lot of great things going on in the city. Are the parks back open?
Yeah.
They are back open. So everybody can go down and enjoy the parks and, do what you need to do. So, DJ, I'll let you do your deal. What is this? I don't think that's it. I don't think that was it. Go ahead.
It's been a great Monday morning. Appreciate all of you being in with us. Hope you have some time to waste tomorrow. Get back in here. We're going to do it all over again. Y'all be safe. Be smart. Have a great week. See y'all on the rebound.
I didn't realize you was going to do it that fast. Here we go. Let's just do this. Okay, that's not it. Oh, I know why. Hold on just a second. Let me get over here and do it the right way. How about that? Now you'll do it again?
Yeah.
Or just say, hey, we got to go.
We're out. We'll get it figured out.
Yeah.
We'll do better tomorrow.
Check y'all later.